Good afternoon. Thank you, Lenny, for your generous introduction. In a Vanderbilt University study, researchers found that having at least one positive adult-child relationship built on trust, understanding, and warmth is correlated with positive outcomes in academics, motivation, and cooperation. Thanks to the Boys and Girls Club, I am a testament to that truth. I stand before you today as the first person in my family to receive a doctorate. I have a doctorate in clinical psychology, and on the 30th of this month, I'm actually taking my licensing exam. I owe much of my success to my years spent at the Boys and Girls Club. It was at the club that I learned what it means to belong, to be embraced by a community, and to be supported in making my dreams a reality. I'm a hardworking and determined person, and having spent over a decade of my life at the Boys and Girls Club, I learned how to harness that tenacity and grit and develop a meaningful career, empowered relationships, and a fierce sense of self. When I walked through the doors of the club for the first time at age 8, I was shy and uncertain about my place in the world. Being both Japanese and Black, I often felt different and insecure. My parents and my family went out of their way to make sure I had a strong sense of belonging and pride in my race and cultural background. Yet even with that, I wasn't quite sure where I fit in. Seeing other kids at the club that looked like me helped build my confidence. It helped me feel less timid, something I was used to feeling as one of the few kids of color in many spaces. Now, while I had access to my Japanese culture, I had less exposure to what it meant to feel connection to my African American heritage. With the club, I learned about the Black history of the Central District. I was inspired by the things that people of color were doing in our community. It was in those moments, that was the first time that I felt connection to my multicultural identity. I knew that I wanted to be a change maker in the community. Miss Patrick, who we know is in the audience today, I'm glad I can't see you because I feel like I would start crying. She pushed me out of my shell to dream bigger and to reach further. Miss Patrick understood me. She was curious about what I loved and encouraged me to think deeply. She knew exactly what I needed and made sure that I got that. I would see pictures on her filing cabinet, pictures of all these kids who came before me, pictures of kids who shared my experience. And when I looked at those, I knew that I could be anything. I knew even then that Miss Patrick and the staff at the club was going to make sure I ended up right here where I am today. And when I was a freshman in high school, Ms. Patrick encouraged me to join the Rotary Keystone Group. It's a leadership group for high school students. I, along with about 15 other students, were selected to attend a national leadership conference in Washington, D.C. On the way to this conference, I was desperately uncomfortable. I knew that I was going to have to stretch myself as I was being asked to represent the clubs of King County. I quickly learned to be comfortable with discomfort. I knew that I had been coached to believe that my voice mattered. I was coached to believe that I had valuable thoughts to share with kids from across the country. I was proud of what we were doing at the Rotary Boys and Girls Club. I knew that I was a part of a transformative community. So I went from being this shy third grader needing math tutoring to becoming a staff member at the Rotary Boys and Girls Club and eventually being awarded Youth of the Year. The Boys and Girls Club also awarded me scholarships in academics. My experience going to college, or the possibility of that, would have been dramatically different without their support. So I knew I wanted to help families. But in college, I recognized that it wasn't the practice of medicine that was driving me. Really, it was the ability to guide people toward healthy lives. This desire grew out of what I witnessed, not only experienced at the Boys and Girls Club. every staff member is committed to knowing, loving, and understanding the youth that they serve. I wanted to give back in the same way. A couple of months ago, I ran into a student who I worked with when I was on staff at the Boys and Girls Club. I was standing at Ulta, the beauty supply store, when a young woman approached me and told me that I was her counselor. It took me a moment to recognize her, but when I did, I remembered this shy, timid third grader. She needed extra attention to make sure that she didn't retreat into deep isolation. I remember paying special attention to her. I remember watching her grow and become more outgoing as she felt like she was a valued member of our community. I was able to support her because I felt like I was a valued member of my community. I had been constantly reminded that my voice mattered. She shared with me that day that the Boys and Girls Club had changed her life. She shared with me that because of the club, she was now a social justice advocate. She told me that I changed her life. I was able to recognize that story because her story was my story. Every youth is given exactly what we need to succeed. The truth is, relationships matter, representation matters, and when children are given guidance and the resources to do so, they thrive. This is exactly what that Vanderbilt University study proved. And this is exactly what the Boys and Girls Clubs do so well. Every youth is given exactly what we need. And today, all of us here have the same opportunity to offer another child just that. To offer another child the opportunity to be the first in their family to go to college, or like me, to be the first in my family to receive a doctorate. Simply through offering mentorship, support, and reminding students that they matter, that they belong, and that they too can make their dreams a reality. Thank you to the club for helping me become who I am today. And thank you to all of you for your support, for your love, and for fostering well-being in the youth by supporting the Boys and Girls Clubs.